Let's check in with the stock of the day, which is Premier Investments. Ticker code PMV. Premier Investments, the parent company of brands like Peter Alexander and Smiggle, reported record-breaking Black Friday sales, according to billionaire chairman Solomon Lew. During the company's annual meeting in Melbourne, Lew mentioned that a recent evaluation of potentially splitting off some of the company's brands showed considerable growth prospects for each. He noted that the beginning of Premier's current financial year was marked by tough retail conditions, with consumers grappling with the rising cost of living driven higher by interest rates and inflation. So, Adam, Premier Investments, do you know, I rue the day when I didn't realise that they owned Smiggle, and I'm going back 10, 12 years ago when a little boy, being my son, dragged me into the Smiggle shop.
Let's go, let's buy some plastic, some more plastic.
And more plastic.
And colourful plastic.
Exactly.
And you spend $50, $60 and you get nothing basically for it.
Right.
Or you get a nice little lunchbox that only lasts like 3 weeks and then you've got to go to Kmart and buy one. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you pretty much said it in that sort of preamble. I think that, you know, there's Black Friday sales. They surprise to the upside, and I think that they're, you know, Peter Alexander does well. Even my wife last night was saying, "Do you want some more, Peter? You know, some pajamas because the sales are about to finish." And I said, "Well, don't worry. There'll be a Christmas sale, and then there's going to be back to school sales." So I think, you know, Premier Investments really with that Smiggle and, you know, Just Jeans and all those kinds of things that they have. But I think overall, it's actually not a bad story to look at. And look, the headlines are grabbing because the stock's up a little bit today because they've talked about divesting or splitting into 4 different businesses. Now, what does that look like? You know, it's probably Smiggle. It's probably then the clothing side of things, and then Peter Alexander as well. So, does that allow for more value to come into the stock? Well, it does, because then, you know, potentially you buy one stock of Premier and then you'll get 4 different stocks in, you know, in once this does split up. So I think the market does like that. But it also means that they can then potentially look at something to do with splitting the business or takeovers or offloading something if they want to as well. Is this the last hurrah? I'm not too sure. I mean, Solly Lew's, he's a very, very intelligent investor. He knows retail back to front and has played this Premier Investments like a Stradivarian. It's been absolutely well done to him. So look, overall, I think we were expected to do about $6.3 billion in Black Friday sales. I don't know the full extent of that number yet, but companies like Premier Investment are getting on the front foot and starting to say, look, we had a really good Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales, and then they've obviously got a couple more events coming up. So it doesn't look too bad for Premier Investments. We've got a buy on Premier Investments at Shaw & Partners. So I'm going to stick with my research, guys, and say it's a buy. Only reason is I think I back management, and they are very, very good at what they do. So
if anyone's going to sort of navigate
and
the
survive,
cycle, it's them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair enough, Adam. What do you think, David?
Yeah, look, I think Adam just covered that pretty eloquently, actually.
I bet you weren't dragged. Were you dragged in, though, to a Smiggle store?
No, not me. No, not likely at all. But look, they're up. Their full-year results were impressive and, you know, quite surprising given the backdrop, economic backdrop, and like I said, tighter financial conditions for the consumer. So you know, the rationale of splitting out the different brands is interesting.
It's very 80s, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, but look, as Solly Lewis
reminds me of Westfield. You remember they did the splits and then came back. And anyway, sorry, David.
No, that's okay. So, you know, look, the trend is sort of, you know, it's not terribly inspiring. They had a big jump back in August when they reported, and it's just been going sideways since then. So, you know, at best for me, it's at least a hold, you know.
Yeah. Possibly
a buy, but I'm not big on the retail sector right now, personally. So it's not a buy personally for me, but it's definitely a hold if you've got it. It's got a good yield, you know, fully franked yield of whatever it is, 5% or something. Just under 5%. Yeah. So it's not trading on ridiculous multiples for a retailer, and they're still kicking some goals here. So, and the outlook was still positive as well.
Yeah, I guess the question is how long can the consumer continue to dig into their savings? You know, go and put money on their credit cards, and it probably comes down to job security. If
Yeah.
there's any signs that, I was chatting with a couple of fund managers this week, that's really what they're looking at, is any signs of the labour market shifting now in this cycle.
I think that's the key, actually. Apart from interest rates, which have softened a bit since the inflation data number came out, that's big relief to mortgage holders. But I think the unemployment outlook and next year is going to be really important. Yeah, I think whether we have a soft landing, hard landing, whatever kind of landing you'd like. Sounds like we're bringing in a plane, a jumper. But I just think that's the key. If unemployment starts rearing its ugly head, then we're re-rate these retail stocks. That's for sure.
Absolutely, a bit like landing the jumbo, the 747 on the old Hong Kong airport, for those of you that used to have that little treat. Okay.